of the tribals further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gulati. And it was really very important insights given by you that yes, the culture and all the things are really very important, which is going to be preserved and conserved by the Adivasi people, the tribes who are saving our earth, our environment. And yes, thank you so much for the invitation you have given to us for this. And I guess post-COVID time, we would definitely be able to move and to be a part of your very important initiatives. So now we have Shri Vibhav Kant Upadhyay ji with us. And with due respect, I'm requesting him to please come up and please your idea of it.
So, Adarni Amarjit Bhagat ji, Adarni Mukhyamantri Bhupesh Baghel ji, बहुत धन्यवाद that okay, let me switch to English because our friends are also there. So thank you very much for inviting us to this virtual tribal festival. It's our honor that our board members from ADO and India Center Foundations have been part of it. In fact, I would like to bring to your notice that this is a very timely initiative which Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh had taken. The word tribe is not even an English word. It's an old French word. It has been driven from an old French word called tribu, and then from the Latin word, tribune and tribus. It basically meant a social human group. And why I'm mentioning this? Because all of us know that for ages, for say 300, 400 years ago, when the idea of development started, when people of a small group, somewhere in the Western world, came up with the idea that what is this called development? So what they invented at that time became the foundation of development, idea of the development. Unfortunately, today, the idea they started 400 years ago is not significant, is of no significance. Rather, it's dangerous, and it is basically very, very challenging for the societies, especially the societies where the populations are big. Countries like India, political boundaries are a very recent thing. So I will talk in terms of humanity. Because political boundaries, whether it's a state's boundary or a national boundary, these are very recent. These are only 200 years old phenomena. Before that, there was no boundary of countries. Columbus used to go and found something, and then used to give names to countries. Today, in this world where Corona has taught us that humans only have an important thing: their culture, their values, shared values, and they have only something they have learned over 5,000 years. Please tell me, in this Corona time, where are those 6,000 nuclear bombs of America and 200 nuclear bombs of India? Why they are not using this to kill the Corona? Where is those $1 trillion of Japan, America, India, China? Why they're not able to handle Corona? Because to handle nature, you have to be close to nature. Our approach of development has to be close to nature. For more than 300 years and 400 years, the basic idea of development was based on exploitation. Exploiting nature, exploitation human being, exploiting anything which comes your way. Exploit, create value. Exploit, create wealth. When the wealth was created for individual, it was called wealth. When wealth was created for community, it was called, community wealth. But when wealth was created for a state or a nation, it was called development model. It was called development. So for 400 years, exploitation became a main phenomena. Main phenomena how to create wealth. Today, after 300, 400 years, we realized when we started this, only 5 to 2 to 5% of the world population was representing the development idea. Only 2% of the world population, or maximum 5% of the world population, was represented by the people who were talking about the idea of development. That means they were basically ready to exploit the available resources of 95% people of the world. Earth always welcomed what we call in Hindi Ma Vasundhara, always welcomed to answer the need of human beings. But we don't know. Suddenly, somewhere, human beings were not happy with the needs. They stopped developing for the needs. It started for the greed of the human beings. And the various ideas and development models, even imperialistic or capitalism or socialism, or even Chinese experiment of capitalism, or European Union's experiment of mixing creating a hybrid of capitalism and socialism. All this has started failing. Why? Because Mother Earth has enough to meet the need of the human being, not the greed of the human being. Mother Earth has started saying, enough is enough. Now, human, you stand and think about a new way of alternative development. So that's why in 1996, when we gave a clarion call to Japan, our global partner, to create an India-Japan global partnership, which our foundation's single-handed work we started in 1996. In 1998, it took a dramatic turn. And then we said, what India-Japan will do together for each other is bilateral relationship. But the global relationship, what we'll be able to do for the humanity. And the idea came that why don't we fill up this vacuum which is in the development model. There are 5 models today we see: imperialism, capitalism, socialism, hybrid of capitalism, socialism, which is now applied in European Union, and the Chinese capitalism. 5 models in some form are moving in the whole world, but this is all based on exploitation. So the idea came that why don't India and Japan, based on empowerment, दोहन पे नहीं, सशक्तिकरण पर हमको काम करना होगा. और छत्तीसगढ़ ने आज जो कदम लिया है ये ऐतिहासिक है. This is a historical initiative. Let's make it a system. Let's make it an ecosystem. Let's make it as a mission and make a movement across the world. And if Chhattisgarh can show how an alternative development model can work, it can show paths to the world. Our African friends will learn from it. They are very keen to join hands in adopting alternative development model. Chhattisgarh could be a torchbearer of ADM for the world under the leadership of our Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel ji. I will also like to request our Chief Minister and our Honorable Minister Amarjeet ji to please raise this subject, that let's stop using the English name tribe, because tribe is a very, very disputed word. It's been used in many contexts. Today, people who have created community and internet are called internet tribes. People who are opposing the government's ideas and they're intellectual, they've been called pseudo-intellectual tribes. And there's a long, so tribe is being used into the so-called developed world as a very, very negative word. People who are not in our league are being called tribes. So my request to the Chief Minister is that when we are starting ADM, let's use a Hindi or a local language equivalent of, क्योंकि वो सारे लोग जो जिनको हम आज ट्राइब कह रहे हैं, जिनको मुख्य धारा से जोड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हमें मानना होगा और ये भी जानना होगा आने वाले समय में मदर नेचर हमको वो सिखाने वाली है कि एक दिन ट्राइब्स के अंदर से वो नेतृत्व निकलेगा जो बाकी की दुनिया को दिखाएगा कि ह्यूमैनिटी सर्वाइव कैसे कर सकती है. हाउ ह्यूमैनिटी विल सर्वाइव विल बी टॉट बाय द ट्राइब्स in coming time, and time will tell this, because again I am reiterating, and Queen Diambi will later talk about this, because she represents world's largest group of tribes. In Africa, thousands of tribes are there, and she is mother of all those tribes. She's a leader of those tribes, and she's been recognized in Brazil and Africa and elsewhere in the developed world as a leader of tribes. She will also elaborate on this, that in coming time when ADM is the way of living, that ADM is way forward for humanity, then who will lead the world? It will be tribes and tribal leaders. So we have to empower those who come along. And there are a lot of things to learn from tribal world now. What is that traditional knowledge for 5,000 years or 3,000 years? How did they fought with the viruses? How did they fought with the various natural calamities? And how did they come up with an ideas of keeping the identity intact? Whether we are talking about our tribals on the mainland, we are talking about tribals in Andaman Nicobar. I think time has come when what we call as a mainstream, is it's on the mainstream development is on its knees. अपने घुटनों पे हैं हम, और हमको Mother Nature, if we are going into the shelter of Mother Nature, we have to reset and restart. And the restart is development, the alternative development model. With these words, I invite all of my team members and our distinguished guest speakers to please elaborate and please, with the passion, come up that how we can take ADM along with tribes. It is not for tribes. With the help of tribal world, we would like to take ADM forward. And I will like to repeat and reiterate the same as the chairman of ADO in Norway. I would like to invite the state of Chhattisgarh, under the leadership of Mani Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel ji, to please join hands in ADO's mission of alternative development model, and we are taking it to the world from Norway, along with our partner foundations in Japan called India-Japan Foundation, India Center Foundation in India, and Global Partnership Foundation in America. Thank you very much.
No.
Thank you so much. And really very important. And believe the important points you have. This is really very important for us. First of all, you said that we need a restart button. We need to go back to the basics to learn how to save our Mother Earth, how to learn a lifestyle from the tribals. And yes, this is also very important point you have raised, that we need a new nomenclature for this tribe word. So tribe is, according to you, is something out of the box, और धारा के विपरीत कोई शब्द को आजकल ट्राइब कहने लगे हैं. So which is really very important to redefine this tribe word, which would be really very important for everyone. So thank you so much for your important. Now I'm requesting His Excellency Dr. Lucas George, Prime Minister of State of African Diaspora, to really have your word with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we have your voice, sir. Please.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for this invitation. And I recognize a few friendly faces that I know already. Mr. Kent, it's a pleasure. Queen Diambe, and I would be very happy to become friends with all the other people I do not know yet. I like very much the topic of this round table. The world is based on money and racism. According to the dominant representation, there are in the world developed and underdeveloped civilization. A few decades ago, people would say superior races and inferior races. Today, people wouldn't say this kind of language. So now, instead of saying, I belong to a superior race, they would say, I belong to a developed country. And of course, you do not belong to a developed country. You are underdeveloped. So you may be from India, a civilization which is great, that emerged before many others. You may be from Africa, where humanity emerged. You are still underdeveloped. Even you developed yourself before others, you are seen as an underdeveloped person. So today, if you have money and you dominate others, you are developed. And if you don't have money because you are exploited by others, you are underdeveloped. This is how things work. And we live in this world where the developed, or the so-called developed people of the developed countries, are destroying the planet. So I would like to know what kind of development is that when you destroy your own house? How are you developed when you are committing your own suicide? You know that, and you still continue to develop your own suicide. My question is, what kind of development is this? The answer is perhaps coming from the tribes. The tribes in the world are very, very different, obviously. What do they have in common? I tried to figure out what they may have in common, and the only answer I could find, in spite of all this huge diversity, is perhaps how to preserve your own environment. All these tribes have different opinions, religions, cultures, but all of them do what it takes to preserve their nature, their environment, the place where they belong. So if there is only one lesson they can give us, is the necessity not to kill the planet, not to kill the forest, not to kill the river, not to kill nature. So whatever the name you give to nature, whatever the name you give to your gods, whatever your name you give to your trees, you need to preserve them. So I won't elaborate very much on that. But the only question now I would like to raise is, who is truly developed? Is it the person who is destroying the planet? Or is it the civilization or the tribe, whatever the name? And Mr. Kent gave us some ideas about new names. But these traditional people who knew how to preserve the planet, who to preserve their environment. So my only question now is, who is truly developed and who should teach to others? That's my question for today. Thank you very much. And that's also the question for the state of the African diaspora. So, of course, we are here to reinforce Africa through the diaspora and the diaspora through Africa. But we know that our traditional values were based on this notion of environment. So I don't want to say more today. That was my message for today. And thank you very much for this invitation.
Thank you so much for your really very important point. And the question is really important among us, that who is truly developed. And I believe that this question is not only for the developed nation, but each and every one of this globe. He needs to answer and to think about that what exactly is the meaning of development. We have exploited everything, every resources, be it human or the nature, and now we call ourselves that we are a developed country. But this is really very important, that we have to learn from the tribals who have preserved our nature, our Mother Earth, our nature. Yes. So thank you so much for this very important points from your side. And now, with due respect, I am inviting Queen Diambi for her own opinion.
It's really a pleasure to see everyone here and to be invited in this very honorable panel. May I, with all protocol respected, just tell everyone that I'm very proud and honored to meet some of you and to see some of my friends here, and also to be, in around this table. So yes, indeed, I am Queen Diambi Kabatuswila Chiyomwata. I am the queen of the Bakwaluntu people in Kasai, Democratic Republic of Congo, and I'm also queen mother of the African descendants of Brazil. And as you can, see just even by my appearance, I'm really connected to, ancient, traditions and values that that I represent, for my people. And today, as coming after Mr. Kant and Mr. Tin, it's really important in this, roundtable to stress the importance of the traditional and ancient value that we have cultivated that have, propulsed the human experience all the way to the, to the corner of this new century. So we came about because, of course, we were families. Tribe is really another way to say family. And yes, we did have to identify ourselves so we can, see in what way we could share and, the resources that we had so we can promote life. And we have done, tremendous work, coming out of Africa, only 70,000 years ago, and colonizing basically the entire planet, going everywhere and, working with nature to find out how, the best way to live under the environment we found ourselves. We even, changed our appearances, with nature. We made a contract of saying we will, adapt and we will, work with nature and we will be in symbiosis with nature. And so nature helped us also, to make sure that we were able to live under different condition, different environment, and humanity can be found in extreme weather, all kinds of ways, cold, hot, whatever. So everywhere we went, we did okay with nature. However, that was when we had a contract to say, we take, but we give back to nature as well, and we don't take more than nature can give us. But today the scenario has changed. I'm not going to go back with the history of, industrialization and everything that happened, even before that, where the economy really became a global economy, and then, greed or the profit-based economy, we can call it capitalism, but it's really profit-based economy took over, the way we think about how we can live on this planet and how we can exchange, our wealth or our resources so we can live comfortably, together. So now we are in this system, and after a couple of centuries, we are realizing that, first of all, the system is not yielding to the promises that it was supposed to uphold, which was to have a better life for most. And we realize that it's really a system that promotes a better life for some at the expenses of most. So I will not reiterate, the idea of exploitation that was already cited by the people who spoke before me. But it's a system of exploitation so that we can continue accumulating, literally value over the wealth that we keep taking from nature and transforming it. However, the problem is it's not yielding to the benefit for most. So everybody around the planet, we can take a look, maybe about 90%, if not more, of the planet is living with, difficult conditions. And not because the planet doesn't have enough to give, but it's because the distribution of the wealth is not equitable. And so before we think about equity, we have to think of truth first. We have to think of what is right, what is true, and what is right cannot coexist with lies. So first, we have to really make a serious assessment of the system itself, and we, the people of the world, have to come together. And as we have identified that there was a system that is not yielding to promoting, equity, to promote, integrity of life in its whole, then we have to put that system basically on a stand and start examining, what is this system doing. And if we continue this way, and as I think Mr. Kant said, the system is the nature was designed for our needs, but not for our greed. But greed has no limits, as opposed to our needs, which, if all our basic needs are met, then we can consider that people live a decent life. So nowadays, as we go back to look at the tribes, and I think that this is what is important when we talk about tribes. It's really a complicated word, and it can mean a lot. But when I'm referring to our traditional cultures and how we used to make sure that the community was living in harmony, among themselves. Although understanding that there will always be conflict. However, living in harmony and also living in harmony with nature, we realized that the mindset was not to a profit-based economy, but rather a resource-based economy. And I think that we have come now to a time where we can definitely, rethink our systems, and we have the right to question the system who has been, imposing is a dictate for too long. And we can say that if we can recognize that to continue this way, we would need 3 planet Earth just to maintain, the standard of life of few, and having most people in, poverty or not meeting their basic needs. So I have traveled all around the world, and I've met with absolutely amazing people. And the idea of tribe, if we can translate it into human family and realize that, we are better off if everyone else is better off, in the sense that we are better off if everybody has a decent life, then we will realize that we are part of, one family. And it's far-fetched when we think about all the divisions that have been cultivated because of our differences in race, religion, philosophical beliefs, or even political ideology. So many of these divisions have been maintained so that we can continue to race for the control over the resources, basically. But when we realize, we have to start having that mindset, that realize that our fate is linked. So there is no one who will be better off if everybody is not. And it's not to promote any idea of communism, but it's about promoting an idea of realizing that if our fate is linked, then we have to solve problems together. We have to look at those problems as being common problems for the entire humanity and start working to solve these problems. So in the traditional economic system have a lot of solutions. So again, if we move away from the Western paradigm, we can find solutions, because many different alternative development system have already seen the day. We have many civilizations before us, and even you just taking reference to the African civilization of what is called ancient Kemet, what many people refer to Egypt. Those are civilizations that has different proposals. So we have to study our history. We have to give back honor to our ancestors and study our history and gain some wisdom from all the indigenous people in the world, and see what were the values promoted by the economic systems, and how did they manage resources so that everybody's needs were equitably met. So my understanding of this panel is that we bring our family back together. We bring the human tribe back together, and we understand that all these layerings, as the previous interlocutors have spoken about, we have the power to dismantle this machine, and not to let it just drop, but to propose alternatives. And to find how alternatives work, we have to consult with all these families that are still stay close to nature and stay close to community values, where the life of human was most important, life of nature was most important. We understood the management of our resources so that we don't deplete the resources, we don't use the resources much faster than nature can replenish itself. So we have a lot of wisdom to bring back into what it's called the modern world, and ancient wisdom is there in all different cultures, and we can use these ancient cultures to imbue our thinking so that the new thinkers and the new technocrats and intellectuals can put their heads together and also and find alternative ways. So I'm very honored to be part of a group, to be part of the alternative development organization as well, and to be part of a group of people that say enough is enough. We are not going to find solutions like this. I want my children, my grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren, and all of yours to prosper in a world where we can manage our resources and make sure that our needs, our basic needs, are met in a much more equitable way that yield to having benefits for most, and rather than benefits only for some. So thank you very much for letting me express some of my opinions here around this very honorable roundtable. Thank you.
I would like to underline a few of your points. Uh, yes, okay. So now I'm unmute, right? So thank you so much, Queen Diambi, for this very important insights and the points you have underlined over here. Especially, I was writing down your one point, which is resource-based economy, rather profit-based economy. And for this, we have to learn from our ancient history. And yes, the communities over there who have been doing all these things, before this terminology, which is development model, was there. So they were already doing this. So thank you so much for your important inputs. And yes, I believe that the world should learn from this, and we all need to move ahead on the points you have underlined over here. So now, with due respect, we have another important delegate with us, a very prominent speaker, Prince Honorable Dr. Xavier Shishimba. So I am requesting you to kindly put your opinion over here, this forum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, first, let me begin by thanking the India Center Foundation and the entire team that is behind this very important discussion on tribal societies today. My name is Xavier Chishimba. I'm party president of the United Progressive People, UPP, a political movement in Zambia, which is organizing with the help of the Almighty to form the next government in 2021. We believe that the time of a youth generation to take over the reins of power in Africa to change course has come. I am a prince of the biggest tribe in Zambia, the Bemba tribe. It's called Bemba. My mother is Queen Mumbimukulu of the Mumbimukulu Kingdom of the Bemba-speaking people in Zambia. Zambia has 73 tribes. In fact, let me also see this occasion to say that before our tribe finally settled in Zambia, we were in what is called the Kola in the region. Then we came to the region where Queen Diambi is, that is Congo. So we are actually one large tribal, entity, if I may use that word. So our roots are truly in the Congo, that is the DRC. Now, my submission starts from the premise that tribe, when I'm talking about tribe, and speaking also, by the way, as a Jew, I am a Jew. A tribe comes from the Jewish word shevet. Now that shevet, the root for shevet is the scepter or rod. So you're not talking about a rod or a scepter, you're talking about leadership. Apparently, when we are talking about, for instance, the 12 tribes of Israel, which were organized according to a set of special skills that each tribe, had, their gathering or their development agenda was driven around the leadership of the community. So we're talking about community-based kind of leadership. And then applying this in the African context, and talking as a person who comes from the largest November tribe in Zambia, I must say that from the very beginning, before colonialism, tribal societies were organized around community leaders. They existed, in fact, as states in their own rights. The member speakers, for instance, who came to what we call Zambia today in the 12th century had one paramount king, then below the king, there were other kings. And then below the kings and queens, there were traditional village heads who were organizing communities. There's a concept called Ichima. Ichima means working together, building communities around the common agenda that a community has. So in other words, if person A has a farm, the people in the village would go to work on that farm, they complete, then they go to the next person, they work, and they lived together as one. They solved problems together, and they ensured that the development agenda of communities was sustainable. There's what is called, for instance, a slash and burn, which the Western development experts thought that it was destroying the environment, and yet not. Because when you look at the slash and burn, the people would cut down the branches and not stamping out the trees. They cut down the branches, and then they gather them. After gathering, and then they burn. Then that is to make the soil fertile, and then they would grow crops, and it was sustainable. But with the massive developments that we've seen happening over the years, where you have all these mega corporations coming from Europe, or the Americas, I mean, they come, they stamp out the trees. As they're advancing their industrial programs, investment programs, they are telling the people in the villages to maintain the trees in the name of reducing deforestation, as well as enhancing carbon stocks under the UN RED program, of which I was actually privileged to have been a consultant in Zambia. I did what is called the economics of RED Plus. That is the program to reduce emissions from deforestation, forest degradation, and enhancing carbon stocks. But we find that the exploitation which is going on in many tribal societies is not driven by the local people. Because the local development agenda is one which is very sustainable, environmental friendly, and focused on the people. The concept, the idea of building relationships in the communities as the basis, or shall I say as the foundation, upon which all development programming is predicated, is the only sustainable alternative. It is in this context that I fully support the alternative development model, because it is a model that seeks to build or to drive the development agenda on the basis of the relationships. You look at the needs, the peculiar needs of every community. We ought to understand that societies are not homogeneous. So we need to take into account the local cultures. We need to take into account the local politics, because we are talking about a tribe. You are simply talking about a people who ascribe to a certain set of beliefs, the political system, and they work together around their localities or in their localities. This is what it means. I do know that a tribe, as Honorable Chairman put it, that it's one that comes with so many connotations and has actually been diverted from the original meaning. There is nothing actually derogatory when we go to the very root, as I said, the root of the word tribe, which is the shepherd, which is talking about leadership, it's talking about a staff, it's talking about a scepter or a rod of leadership. So the development agenda of nations ought to begin from the stage of development at which the people are. Zambia, as I said, has 73 tribes, but among us, we have the many people of Indian origin who are Zambians. Some are now in the fourth generation. They came to settle in Zambia before we became a unitary state. Where we actually in the late 1800s. They came to settle here. They are part of us. We have townships, for instance, that are named after many Indian freedom fighters, like what is called Desai Township in Lusaka. It's named after Mr. Desai, a renowned freedom fighter who gave all his resources to fight for freedom, working with the local people, above irrespective of color, because we are one. Then apart from Mr. Desai, we have we have many actually. I can go through the whole list of that. Then we also have Greeks who came to settle among us, including Jews. Among the Jews, we have a living legend who is almost 100 years now, Mr. Simon Zukas, who came from Poland. So when you look at all these, all of us here in Zambia, one of the things that is actually not common across the board, across sectors, is that we work together. And when a problem arises, there is this spirit of working together to liberate ourselves. So the central theme is that time has come to go to the development models that are sustainable. And talking about working together, when I'm talking about working together or building or driving the development agenda on the basis of relationships, as Queen Diambi put it, we are not talking about communism, no, not at all. We are simply talking about a development model which takes into account the everyday realities that people live in all the communities across the globe. When you go to Israel, there is what is called the kibbutzim. Kibbutzim, that is a plural for kibbutzi. A kibbutzi, as all the panelists may know, is organized around the people who ascribe to a certain culture, they ascribe to a common development agenda. The kibbutzim have revolutionized the development in Israel. They work together. They cultivate together. They have industries. In other words, when they begin a kibbutz, let's say they are growing grapes, apples, grains, and so forth. They do know that there is need for factories that are environmentally friendly. They set up factories in a kibbutzim. They build, smart, houses around all these areas, and they ensure that instead of, for instance, having electricity which is diesel generated or generated by nuclear electricity, nuclear power, they instead embrace the new technologies in the solar power. So they are such beautiful kibbutzim when you go to Israel, and they are very sustainable. And whatever profits that they generate, they share among themselves. Because whoever lives in a kibbutz is actually a shareholder in that, in the kibbutzim itself. So I do believe that the idea model must be embraced. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your very important you have shared with us. I guess there is one more unmute. So anyways, I would really like to thank you for the very important insights, and there is something Vibhav sir want to share with us. Vibhav Kant Upadhyay ji.
So, friends, while we spoke about alternative development model and also the various aspects, is a very, very deep thinking we need to do. We have done a lot of thinking, but still it has a scope of doing more deep thinking on how and what an alternative should emerge as. But I would like to share with you three three frameworks of this new development model. And one is operational framework, and another is strategic framework, and third is a strategic framework. The strategic framework is basically that the alternative development model should rely upon relationship first, mechanism second, execution third, economy afterwards, empowerment at last. So the model of RME has to be followed. The moment we try to put either of them first or change the order, that's where the whole ruckus starts. The operational model says that we have to address the thought process of an economy differently. As Prime Minister Tin also said, that this is not in a GDP based thought process. We just can't make profit based thought process. Profit could be an important part of it, but it cannot be the only motive or mission. So in operational framework, we have to think of incorporating energy efficiency, environment responsibility, and sustainability into every balance sheet which is made either by individual or organization or state or nation. And the third one, which is most important, that the ideology by which a area or tribe or a state lives has to be made main in all the systems which have been made out of made in that state or area or that community have to be based on that ideology we follow. And product should only follow the systems. So it should be ideology, system, and product. Forget about most developed nations, even the developing nations. Most of the systems we are using, they don't even match with our ideology. They have been imposed on us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vivek. And yes, points you have over here is really deep thought, well analyzed. And I personally believe that whenever we discuss about any idea or the concept, there should be always a road how we're going to implement all those things. Only discussing some good idea and some good thought is not fair enough if it is not going to be good. And yes, what you have shared is definitely going to be, to lead this world and to reach a new paradigm.
Gaurav, I just wanted to mention to my friends who are here from all over the world, means people are from Zambia, America, Norway, London, Nigeria, Japan, and Nepal. So I just wanted to let them know that don't be please disappointed that our Honorable Chief Minister, due to some unavoidable situation, may not be able to join us for this discussion. But he has sent his all good wishes, and he will definitely like to connect at some other timing. And he will also send a message of his message towards this topic of alternative development model to us. It will reach to us personally. And but let's continue this important talk. And Gaurav, there are two added guests which were not mentioned before. One is Rubina Dewan from Nepal. She's Secretary General of our foundation. She's also from a very prominent tribe from Nepal. And another gentleman is from Nigeria. He's ambassador of a UN mission, and he's very close to this thought process. So please allow them to speak up their mind on the subject. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for mentioning this important point. Two important things. The first is the message from Honorable Chief Minister Saab. In Chhattisgarh, there is a traditional festival today as well, and hence it's really very important festival. And I guess, and I believe that due to this kind of unavoidable reason he is not available at the conference right now. And yes, as mentioned, two very important eminent guests are with us. So first of all, I'm welcoming both of them, Rubina ji and Dr. Favor. And first, we would like to invite Dr. O. Favor, who is the UN Peace Ambassador, to kindly put up his opinion and his idea of this ADM. Dr. O. Favor. Dr. Favor, can you hear me? Yes, Mr. Favor, we are requesting you to kindly put up your opinion and your idea of the
Yes,
alternative.
sorry, I'm trying to. Sorry. Yeah.
No, there is a technical error from your side. We are not able to hear your voice properly.
Yes. Hello. Hello.
Dr. Favor, may I request you to kindly, we will get back to you once again.
Okay, maybe I this.
Since it's
Can you hear me
not,
now?
yeah, now this
Oh.
is very properly. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we are getting your voice.
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Favor.
Yes, I will. You know, maybe
Still, I believe there is
network from my own side here. Hello? Wow. Hello? Hello?
yes, Dr. Favor.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. I don't know. I need to check your name again, and so that I will not misspell it or miscall Guriel, right? Or Girija, Mr. Girija. Thank you so much. I think I'm comfortable with that. And actually, I was invited by Barrister Eileen. I think I'm right. So yes, and I also want to appreciate all our honorable speakers. You know, you've spoken brilliantly, so brilliantly, and I am so privileged to be part of this forum. This is what we need, and I've heard our Queen Mother and other speakers talking about and giving us definitions of tribe, in which it's somehow negating the systems of nature. Because if we need to go by tribalistic ideology, I think it's going to put us backward. But what I just want to say, regards to other people that have spoken, before me, is that love is the one that can solidify the nature. Love is the one that can speak the true, the true essence of nature. Love is the one that can promote the economical, the political, and sociological part of nature. Love is the one that can, connect us together, fix our faith together. One of the speakers said that how can you say you are promoting the value of nature and you are destroying your world? He talks about money and racism. So once we have that kind of mentality, that until money is in place, sure is you and I. Forces a kind of reality. Nature is just there. It's not functioning except you and I. We are part of it. So I'm so happy that honorable ministers and the other speakers, they have spoken expressly regards to this. But this is my own point. How far are we valuing ourselves? How far are we valuing the ideology we are putting on table? How far are we valuing the global, destructive catalyst? Now, when you are having this kind of tribalistic ideology, there's no how you will not feel it so superior than other people, than other nations. Globally, we know the impact of India, we know the impact of different parts of country. Okay, I came from Nigeria, the largest population in Africa. And I happens to be a founder of AERO, African Intellectual Resource Organization. We are trying to pull the entire Africa together by implementing our potentials. We believe in using African content to develop Africa for Africans. So what are we trying to do that is quite different is that, quite different from other existing institutions. Of course, we are going to build bridge with other existing institutions in Africa, but we still believe in this ideology that it is until we value ourselves, it is until we get ourselves promoted by one another, that is when the ideology behind any kind of table, any kind of conversation can unite, can promote, and can actually make impact in the global world. So as a peace ambassador, I am employing, I'm using this opportunity to also encourage one another. When you are in a position, how far are you using your position to influence others that are a little bit lesser than you? When you are in a position, how far are you, navigating the existence of your position? Because you are not there because of yourself, you are not there because of your belly, you are not there because if there's no people, there won't be any position. If there's not be any kind of hierarchy, to be leadership. You are now a leader because you want to lead through. Is because it is not that they don't have idea that you are having, no, but they have to put somebody there as representation of their own mindset, of their own idea, of their own kind of concept they are developing. So let me just round up with this: that we have a lot of time. We have, we have time to make use of. We have time in our hands to tell the next generation, because that is the most important thing to me. The next generation is what some other people or other countries, they are not even trying to look after. They are not. They are not there. They are not figuring out what is going to come after.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Favor, but yes, we got most of your point, but the last few minutes where, your voice is really very broken up and we are not able to understand, or we are not able to hear the final points. But I'm really sorry to interrupt you right now over here, since it's there are some technical error, I believe, and that's why we are not able to hear your voice properly. But yes, the final message I believe that you are going to say is the tribalistic ideology. We need to learn so many things from it. And yes, being a peace ambassador, definitely you are saying so many things that how we can spread the love for the development and for each and one, for the growth of everyone in this globe. So, due to this technical error, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. And now we have two more guests. We have Alan Beneman, and another one is we have Rubina. So first, I would request to Alan Beneman to kindly speak up and get your idea of alternative model of development.
Hello, this is Elaine. And again, thank you very much. I'm honored to be a part of this forum. Thank you so much for the various ideologies and ideas and thoughts that you've shared. And this really warms my heart, because it's good to know that we all agree that the current political, ideological systems that exist are actually not working for all. And I like what Viva said about putting relationship first, because again, this ties into what the gentleman from Nigeria is also alluding to, that if we cannot relate, if we cannot build relationships and partnerships, sustainable partnerships, how are we going to have systems that work for all and across the board? I mean, people are in themselves, ourselves, we are unique. Different societies are diverse, from society to society, from government to government, from country to country. So we have to realize that we're always going to have differences, but there's certain underlying themes which affect us all. And one of them I'd like to perhaps bring to the fore is caring. You know, if we have caring, if we have an economic system which is based on caring, we can have a caring environment and caring for each other, caring relationships, even caring for governments. Now, this ideology has actually been coined by a lady called Rian Isla in her book, which she called The Chalice and the Blade. And she basically talks about domination systems and why domination systems and pyramid hierarchies do not work. She focuses more on hierarchies of actualization. And that's what we all need to understand. When we develop human capacity for caring, then caring is one thing that would pretty much go across the board, from country to country, government to government, people to people, tribe to tribe, society to society. So if we have an underlying theme of caring, or as Dr. O said, an underlying theme of love, we will be able to achieve much more than when we start from the top of the pyramid, which is just pure dominance and domination. And it builds a very unhealthy hierarchical system, which always means you're going to have a number of people being excluded. What we want to avoid is exclusion and exploitation. So if we have a flat structure right at the base, which means that we're caring for each other, we are including each other, I think we'll find that our different tribal political systems, our different government political systems, our policies within our societies themselves will be easier to merge together, will be easier to form more healthy collaborations, healthy partnerships, to the benefit of us all. And also, we will have, if we're caring enough for each other and we build a more caring environment, a more caring ethos, then we would have no other choice but to also care for our environment. So to be caring across the board. And this is sometimes what we miss. And I'm happy that the Black Lives Matter movement came up, because it started to teach us all how much we need to think about people who are different from ourselves, people who are of a different color. And even going beyond people who have a different color, we also need to start to appreciate the value and the uniqueness of people who have different types of disabilities. We all matter. I always say that everybody has something to offer. There is no one person who has nothing to offer. Every single person, irrespective of tribe, race, disability or not, we all have something very positive to offer to each other. So I've listened to all the amazing theories, ideologies that have been espoused by my various group members here. And I just want to add to it the need for what I would call partnerism. Let's start to think along a socio-economic system of partnerism underlined by caring for each other, caring for the environment, caring from government to government, and use that to enable us to build real partnerships that work, collaborations that actually work. When it actually also involves, thinking for the other person, thinking how to make another person's life a little bit better than it is. And I'm sure a lot of us have very good hearts that are willing to help here and help there. But this is the kind of thing we're talking about. So we can come together as a force which is built on love and caring. And then this force actually can translate into our environment, our policies, our governments, our societies, our tribes, and peoples of all the world. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak here.
Thank you so much, Alan Benaman.
Thank you so much, Alan Benaman.
It was we redefine the hierarchy. The ultimate is going to bond this world, the whole world,
going to bond this world, the whole world,
give a new definition of the development. There are
give a new definition of the
love and yes, is something really very important. We have to learn from our old generations and ancient people also. So and now we have one more speaker, and then our honorable minister would also be speaking something. With all the members. But first, before the ministers are, I am requesting Rubina so to kindly give some idea of her thought regarding this ADM and her opinion. Rubina Diwan. Rubina, are you getting our voice? We should wait for a moment. Yeah. Hi, Rubina. I request you to kindly put up your idea about this ADM. I guess we are not getting connected with Rubina, and there could be some network issue, I believe. So before concluding this, first of all, I am going to request once again our Honorable Minister Amarjit Bhagat Saab to kindly share his opinion and his view regarding all this discussion we have gone through with eminent speakers across the globe today on this very important day.
हैप्पी इंडिजीनियस डे। विश्व आदिवासी दिवस की सभी को बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं और बधाई। यह अत्यंत हर्ष का विषय है कि प्रतिवर्ष 9 अगस्त को विश्व आदिवासी दिवस मनाने के लिए विश्वास के साथ एकत्र हुए हैं। आज हम इस विश्वास की सार्थकता और उपलब्धियों पर विचार विमर्श करते हैं और भविष्य के लिए योजना की रूपरेखा सुनिश्चित करते हैं। आदिवासी, आदिम जाति, अनुसूचित जनजाति ये सभी शब्द समानार्थी है। इसका सरल अर्थ यह है कि जो मूल निवासी है, जो इंडिजिनियस पीपुल है, भारत में गोंड, बैगा, उरांव, कमर, मझवार, बिरहोर, कमार, पंडो, कोरवा आदि कुल अनेक जनजाति हैं जो यहाँ निवास करती है, जो प्रदेश की जनसंख्या के लगभग 32% की आबादी है। इस दृष्टि से छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य आदिवासी बाहुल्य प्रदेश के रूप में जाना जाता है। इस विशाल राज्य में निवास करने वाले जनजाति समुदाय की भाषा, बोली और मुंडा, द्रविड़ और आर्य भाषाई परिवार का प्रभाव है। आदिवासियों का विशिष्ट पहचान उनके बोली भाषा, रीति रिवाज, पर्व त्योहार तथा पारंपरिक नृत्य, गीत और संगीत के माध्यम से होती है। छत्तीसगढ़ के आदिवासी संस्कृति सीधे प्रकृति अर्थात वन, पर्वत, नदी, पहाड़ और वन में निवास करने वाले पशु पक्षियों, सर्प, सूर्य, चंद्रमा, बादल, बिजली सभी की पूजा उपासना से करते हैं। परंतु धरती माता को सबसे ज्यादा महत्व देते हैं। जन्म से लेकर अंतिम श्वास के साथ धरती के साथ हमारा संबंध होता है। पिछले शताब्दी से प्रकृति, पर्यावरण और जैव विविधता की ओर विश्वास का ध्यान विशेष रूप से आकृष्ट हुआ है। आधुनिक सभ्यता और उद्योग मिलकर प्रकृति और पर्यावरण को तहस नहस कर दिया है। परंतु हम आदिवासी वर्ग भी प्रकृति को छाया में ही पलते हैं और बढ़ते हैं। अतः विश्व के सभी आदिवासी समूह की यही सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है कि हम सब मिलकर प्रकृति को हर दृष्टि से सुरक्षित रखें, संवर्धित करें। आधुनिक वैश्विक परिस्थिति में तकनीकी ज्ञान विज्ञान के साथ मानव को जीना पड़ रहा है। इसलिए अब नए सोच के साथ हमें अपनी परंपरा, ज्ञान, विज्ञान और उत्तरदायित्व को निभाना है। छत्तीसगढ़ में आदिवासी नेतृत्व ने अंग्रेजों के विरुद्ध स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अभूतपूर्व बलिदान दिया। सोना खान के बिंझवार राजा अमर शहीद वीर नारायण सिंह ने गुलामी के बदले फांसी के फंदे को स्वीकार कर एक इतिहास रच दिया। बस्तर के गुंडाधुर की कहानी अब हम आजादी के निवासों के प्रेरणा देता है। छत्तीसगढ़ के किदवंतियों में सिंधा धुरुआ और कचना धुरुआ के पराक्रम की कहानी अपने प्रजा के कल्याण की भावना के साथ साथ परोपकारी शासक के रूप में छवि प्रस्तुत करते हैं। आदिवासियों के पर्व, त्योहार, नृत्य, गीत, संगीत, रीति रिवाज सीधे प्रकृति के साथ जुड़े हैं। छत्तीसगढ़ के आदिवासी तो सीधे त्रेता युग के राम और द्वापर युग के कृष्ण की लीलाओं के दर्शक रहे हैं। राम को जूठे बेर खिलाने वाले शबरी का आश्रम शिवनी नारायण में था, ऐसी जन मान्यता है। इसी प्रकार से सरगुजा के कोरवा और पंडो जनजाति अपना संबंध कौरव और पांडव से जोड़ते हैं। छत्तीसगढ़ के अधिकांश प्राचीन धरोहर और ऐतिहासिक स्थल आदिवासी बाहुल क्षेत्रों में ही स्थित है। प्राचीन काल के कला संस्कृति के विकास में आदिवासियों का निश्चित रूप से अभूतपूर्व योगदान रहा है। हमारे प्रदेश में निवास करने वाले जनजातियों का भविष्य अब उन्हीं के हाथों में है। अपनी परंपरा, भाषा और रीति रिवाज की सुरक्षा के लिए अब उन्हें भी आगे आना होगा। छत्तीसगढ़ शासन ने आदिवासियों के विकास और उत्थान के लिए अनेक प्रयास किए हैं, जिससे उद्योग और रोजगार के क्षेत्र में जनजातियों की भूमिका बढ़ी है। शासन प्रशासन में भी अपने योग्यता के बल पर यहाँ के आदिवासियों ने अपनी छवि बनाई है। छत्तीसगढ़ शासन आदिवासियों के समग्र हित के विशेष रूप से जागरूक है। विशेषकर शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य, भूमि, कृषि, लघु उद्योग की स्थापना, हस्तशिल्प और उनके संस्कृति के समुचित संरक्षण की दिशा में अनेक नए सुधार और योजनाएं लागू की है। छत्तीसगढ़ के महान शहीद वीर नारायण सिंह की स्मृति में पुरखौती मुक्तांगन के निकट संग्रहालय स्थापित करने के लिए 26.66 करोड़ का बजट प्रावधानित किया गया है, जिसका आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने घोषणा भी किया है। जनजातीय क्षेत्रों में राम वनगमन मार्ग के कस्बों को पर्यटन पथ के साथ जोड़ते हुए स्थानीय रोजगार के अवसर भी ध्यान दिया जा रहा है। विश्व आदिवासी दिवस के इस अवसर पर मैं राज्य के आदिवासियों के हित के लिए समर्पित राजमोहनी देवी और संत गहिरा गुरु को प्रणाम करते हुए अपने राज्य के और आदिवासी बंधु बांधवों के साथ और विश्व के आदिवासी समुदाय से एकता और सहयोग की कामना करता हूं। और जो इसमें विशेष रूप से जो भाग लिए भाई गौरव ने जो अच्छा इसमें भूमिका निभाए, टीम के सभी साथी अच्छा भूमिका निभाए। इस द फाउंडर ऑफ द अल्टरनेटिव डेवलपमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के मिस्टर विभव उपाध्याय जी ने अपना भूमिका निभाया। इसके लिए मैं हृदय से उनका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, धन्यवाद देता हूं। और जिस प्रकार से पूरा विश्व आदिवासी समुदाय एक साथ जोड़ करके ये भावना प्रकट की है कि हम सब मिलकर के विश्व में एक नए क्रांति ला सकते हैं आपस में जुड़ करके, और हम प्रकृति के संरक्षण के लिए हम काम करेंगे। ये बहुत बड़ी सोच है और सब ने मिलकर के एक पहला प्रयास, एक अनूठा प्रयास किया है। आई एम रियली थैंक्स टू एवरीवन कि आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा इसमें भूमिका निभाया है। श्री उपाध्याय जी के नेतृत्व में नॉर्वे के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हिमांशु गुलाटी जी ने हमें नॉर्वे आने के लिए प्रस्ताव दिया है। अल्टरनेटिव डेवलपमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ मिलकर वैकल्पिक विकास मॉडल पर काम करें। हमें यह प्रस्ताव स्वीकार करते हुए बहुत खुशी हो रही है। इसके साथ ही छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार यह आश्वासन देती है कि आदिवासी नेतृत्व विश्व पटल पर बढ़ाने की हर संभव कोशिश करेगा। अंत में मैं आप सबको छत्तीसगढ़ आने के लिए निमंत्रण देता हूं। छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार को आप सबकी मेजबानी करने में खुशी होगी। वेलकम टू छत्तीसगढ़, वेलकम टू इंडिया। जय हिंद, जय छत्तीसगढ़, जय आदिवासी।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आदरणीय मंत्री महोदय। और हमेशा जब भी किसी नए इनोवेशन की बात होती है या नए प्रकार से आगे बढ़ने की बात होती है, हमेशा आपका मार्गदर्शन और सहयोग हमें मिलता है। So thank you so much on behalf of all the forum over here and the people who have joined us. But before concluding this program and to end this entire discussion, I would request at the last the architect of alternative development model, Mr. Vibhav Kant Upadhyay ji, कि आप इसे कंक्लूड करें। जितनी बहुत ही शानदार ये बातचीत हुई, सारे के सारे एमिनेंट गेस्ट ने अपने ओपिनियन रखे हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि आपसे बेहतर कोई हो नहीं सकता जो आज की इस चर्चा को कंक्लूड करें और नया मार्ग प्रशस्त करें।
Thank you very much once again, friends from ADO board and also from they also represent the cross section of the societies in the world. So here is my 10 cent to what has happened today. One, it is historical. A big initiative has been taken. ADM, the subject of ADM started in 96. It took at least a decade to even germinate it and to put it to shape. What is ADM? Why it is necessary? Where it should go? Who we should include and what? Finally, after the 24 years work on ADM, finally 2 years back in Norway, along with the Nobel Peace Foundation, which gives the Nobel Peace Prize, we joined hand to take ADM, researches on ADM, and taking it forward to the world and make it the voice for ADM. I invite Chhattisgarh government to be our partner into taking this forward, and we can make Chhattisgarh as a socio-economic lab of what we are planning, designing, and thinking. Very frank opinion is required today. We don't need diplomacy. We don't need, because this is about the survival of humanity. This is about whether humanity will survive and prolong for more decades to come. So what I present here is that we have honorable board members here, important board members of our organization. And also you have to understand Norway is an important place from where the model will be, like it will be a nursery of ideas and researches on alternative development model. But two important countries are playing role into this. One is our own India, and Japan, our global partner. So it is wrong to say sometime that entire world's resources are only meant to exploit and only available to those who want to exploit it. We identified these are the same DNA of thought process with Japan, much of India, and I'm deliberately saying much of India, not all of India, most of India, and thought process in countries like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark are very much inclined towards ADM-like model to go global. So with these words, in my opinion, what has been done in 24 years, it's like in a rocket which is ready to launch. And though we call Norway the launching pad, but our first satellite could be Chhattisgarh. And with this, I think in the leadership of our Chief Minister and also Shri Amarjit Bhagat ji will play a major role, because not only he culturally understands what we are talking, but he also is a leader from a state which is basically a right choice for the socio-economic lab or ADM-based developments. And what we can germinate here, what we can cultivate here, what we can show to the world can be adopted in very many places in the world, including Asia and Africa. With these, I welcome all of us to join hands, and let's take it forward.
Thank you so much. Vivekant Upadhyay. Yes, this is a very difficult day, and yes, I totally agree with your point that yes, Norway could be your very important place. Your think tank is there, and your is there. But yes, your language, Chhattisgarh could be a launch pad, the first missile of development. And since Honorable Minister Sir has already promised from his side that yes, Government of Chhattisgarh would be ready to initiate, to collaborate, to take away plans offered from you people and from ADM. So with all these, this is time to end this session. On behalf of organizing team, I'm thanking each and everyone for participating on this very important, the virtual tribal festival over here on the day of this Vishwa Adivasi Divas. And it's really very important to have you all on this forum. There are so many things which we have learned, and the pointings are there. This is going to lead the world in a new way. So once again, on behalf of organizing team, I, Gaurav Girja Shukla, thank you all. Especially thanks to Honorable Minister Sahab, Shri Amarjit Bhagat ji. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Honorable Chief Minister of our state, Bhupesh Baghel ji, he was not able to join us today, but he has sent his video recording and his message to us. And yes, you all people from across the globe, you took the time for us, and you have given so beautiful and brilliant ideas for the alternative model of development. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
केटालाई जङ्घा तर्दैन यो केटा त्यसै मर्दैन
Madhuru Gavah Tiru Isna Gavada
Thank you so much.
Thank you.